and hope my screen is visible to all of you. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Where we are. Collection, right? Okay, so now in previous session we have seen, like, what is the use of wrapper classes. Okay, wrapper in general you will get the question how to convert. Okay, or maybe what is the use of wrapper classes, right? So we have seen, like, for every each and every primitive there is some object classes is created, object types is created, right? Why these wrapper classes are important? Because see, in Java only these primitive data types. Okay, only these primitive data types, which is not considered as a object type. So that's the reason Java is called as the Java is not purely object. I mean, people call the Java is not purely object oriented. Why? Because these by its short in these are not objects, right? Or these are not classes, right? To overcome this particular situation or overcome, suppose for example, sometimes I need, to work on some objects, right? Instead of using this primitive, I want some object, okay, or some of the my features or in Java, let's say collection is there. Right. So collection will work on only on your object type. It will not work on primitive. It will not. I mean, for the collection we cannot use the primitive. Right. So in that case, for each and every primitive means your int, byte, short. These are the primitives, right? So for the each and every primitive, what they did, they have created object type. What it means? Object types means they have created the classes for that. Okay, so different classes they have created. For the byte, they have byte. For the short, they have short. Okay, so S is capital here. Okay, here byte B is capital. Here integer I is capital. L first letter is capital means what? These are the classes, right? So usually for the classes we start with the first letter capital, right? And whenever creating the variable, we keep the first letter as a small, right? So these are the different classes we have created, or whoever developed the Java they have created. Okay, so whenever I need to work on object, okay, not on primitive, in that case I will use these classes, right? Because for each and every data, each and every primitive, there are separate classes are created. Correct. This is something we have seen in previous session, right? So now in this session we are going to learn about the boxing, right? So in there are two types of boxing, like auto boxing and unboxing. Auto boxing and unboxing. So let's try to understand what is meant by auto boxing and boxing, right? So auto boxing means automatically conversion of primitive data into its corresponding wrapper classes. Okay, automatically conversion of primitive data into into what? Into their wrapper classes. It's called as the auto boxing. Auto means primitive to object. Okay, so for example, integer, what is the primitive available for the int? What is
Int,
the primitive available?
int.
Integer int is primitive, right? So let me open. Okay, this is ours. Okay,
Sir, boxing means conversion.
conversion, right? Boxing means so let's say um, if I say, like, I give um, one glass statue, right, or glass I give you, right, and I say, like, keep it in proper box, right? So what you do, you'll take one box and you will keep it there. Okay, so you can say, like, I have done the boxing. Okay, boxing is done, right? Then I say, like, I want that particular glass now. All right, so what you'll do, you'll do the unboxing, right? Unboxing, you have to,
Yes.
right? So you, okay, so just let me check where we are doing the For the wrapper, have you created any? No, I guess, right? Yeah, for the wrapper here is. All right. So for example, what I now, let me create one more class. Okay. Okay, so let's say I'll give the name of this particular class is A. I'll take the public static void main method. Okay, so let's say I'm having what I told about the auto boxing. Okay, auto boxing means conversion of your primitive to its corresponding wrapper classes. Okay, so for example, I'm having one integer. Okay, int a is equal to 20. So what kind of what kind of value is here in int? Int value is there, and which is the primitive. We are holding it into the primitive, right? So this is the primitive type. Okay, and this is the int type, right? So this variable is having type int, which is primitive. So basically this 20 is now primitive, right? But for instance, what I want to do, I want to create one integer variable, okay, which is a wrapper class of your int, wrapper class of your int. Okay, now I'm saying int I equals to, let's say, a. Right. Now here I am not doing any conversion, but still I can able to hold this 20. Still I can hold this A inside the I. Okay. So this particular concept is called as the, previously we have seen like, how to convert, integer to byte, byte to int. There are methods available, right? But whenever you are converting or whenever you are storing the int into the integer, in that case, int into the integer. So let's say byte into the byte, right? So at that time, you don't need a conversion, right? It will do auto conversion, and this particular conversion is called as the boxing. This is called as the boxing. So this is your boxing, sorry, auto boxing. This is called as the auto boxing. Okay. Now I want to unbox it as well, right? How to unbox it? Okay. So let me I create one more variable. So let's say B. Okay. And I'm saying like, B is equal to I. So I is which type of variable? I is the integer. That means object type of variable. See, this integer is your object, right? Object, or you can say class variable. I is the class variable of type integer, right? Now I want to convert it into the, again, primitive, right? Again, I want to convert it into the primitive. So what I will do, I will say I. Okay. And now this time as well, I don't require, forcefully convert. It will automatically convert. Okay. So this particular thing is called as your boxing. This is, sorry, this particular thing is called as the unboxing. Okay. So this is called as the auto boxing, and this is called as the unboxing. Okay. So let's see here definition as well. Okay, automatically conversion of your primitive to its corresponding wrapper classes. Okay, automatically conversion from the primitive to what? Primitive to wrapper. So here primitive to what? Wrapper, right? Primitive to wrapper class. Primitive to wrapper classes. Okay, this called as the what? This is called as the
Auto
auto
boxing.
boxing. Auto boxing. And what is meant by unboxing?
Wrapper class to primitive.
Conversion of wrapper class to the primitive.
Right. Conversion of wrapper class variable to its primitive.
Primitive.
Okay, so this is called as the unboxing.
Unboxing.
Okay, so unboxing of iPhone, let's say 15 Pro Max, right? So what they did, they just open that particular box. So here we can say like, we have box it here, and now you're doing the unboxing here. Right, and this is happen in automatically. So that's the reason it's called as the auto boxing and auto unboxing. All right. So I think that's it about the, so this is a very small topic, but sometimes people will ask you, okay, do you know what is meant by auto boxing? What is meant by unboxing? right? So there you can give this, and you can convert it to anything, right? So let's say I'm having one, let's say byte b. Okay, byte b is equal to, let's say, 10. So b is already utilized. So let's say I'm saying, like, byte by is equal to 10, right? Now I have to create one more byte variable. So let's say this is the byte wrapper class, and for that particular wrapper class I'm creating one variable, right? So I'll say, like, by okay, byte I cannot take. Okay, so I will say by1. Yeah, right. And in that case, what I can do, I can just store it
BY.
here, right? So this will happen automatically, right? So this is called as the auto boxing. And for the unboxing, what I can do, I can again create the byte. So let's say
New variable.
by2. Okay, and in that I'll store this by here,
by1.
by1 here, right? So this is called as the unboxing, right? So I mean, sometimes interview will ask you this kind of question, but I mean, usually, I mean, you'll not get much question on this particular topic. Okay, but wrapper classes, you can expect one question like, what is meant by wrapper classes, and why do you need wrapper classes? To give the object oriented flavor, to the your primitives. Okay, so primitive don't have, I mean, object oriented flavor, right? But in case you want, to give the object oriented feature flavor, okay, for your primitive, in that case we are going to use these wrapper classes, so that primitive as well we can treat just like an object. Primitive as well we can treat just like an object. Okay, so that is the reason we have wrapper classes, nothing else. Okay, now next and very important
Sir,
topic. Yeah,
just one thing. There are some other function we use like parseint or
right.
parseint sometime with that. So what are they? Some we can't directly convert into corresponding wrapper class sometimes.
Right. So,
So can we do it through that?
right. So we have seen that earlier, right? How to convert
Uh,
it, right
yes,
or wrong?
yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
So for that we have already taken the examples, right? So for example, if byte I want to convert it into integer, so that I have to use the integer dot parse int or integer dot uh, next int or this kind of things, right? We have to use, right? So conversion we have already done, right? So just go through that particular recording again. If you are
Yes.
having any doubt, just let me know. I'll cover it again. Don't worry.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now next topic, and which is very important topic. Okay, so that is the collection. Okay, so collection is very important topic. Okay, not only for the interview purpose, but if you good in collection, uh, so previously we have seen, like, different programs as well, right? So it will be easy way to do this all these program, right? So let's say I told you, like, find out the duplicate character, right? So if you know, I mean, where duplicate allowed, where duplicate is not allowed, which collection duplicate allowing, which collection is duplicate not allowing, so you can, I mean, within few lines you can solve all these problems, right? So if you know which collection should I use where, in that case I mean, most of your critical problem you will solve, I mean, quickly. Okay, so that's the reason collection is important from the interview point of view as well application level as well. Most of the topics you are going to use in your automation framework as well. Okay, I will tell you which are the important from the automation point of view, which you have to, ignore. Okay, you have to ignore those, right? Now, when it comes to the collection, so similar topic that we have array. Okay, so array, what basically array is doing. Okay, so first of all, try to understand difference between array and collection. First of all, try to understand the difference between array and collection. So basically, array we have seen earlier. Okay, so what do you think array is? Okay, Okay, apart from here, I have mentioned on slide. Do you have anything that will describe the array? Okay, tell me any definition that you know.
Array is a sequence of the
Array is
character.
Right. Array is the
array
not
is a
sequence of
collection
string
of
is the sequence of
same
character, right?
Collection. Okay, yeah.
same
Array
type of
array we
data.
can hold any type of data, right? So let's say integer bytes, right? So
Mhm.
basically we can store the homogeneous data element. So whenever I'm saying like I want to store the integer, right? So it will store the integer numbers only, right? So how we can create basically array? Anyone knows? So for example, let me okay.
Array symbol.
Tell me
Yeah,
how to create the
basically.
array. I don't know. Okay, so let's say int a. I want to create the array. All right. So how I can create the array?
Go to flower bucket.
Suppose
Huh?
int a
Mm-hmm.
Curly
a
braces.
double r.
Mm-hmm. Okay, A is the
One,
array.
yeah,
Okay.
a, okay,
You don't have to
a,
say array every time for the array.
yes,
Okay. Suppose A
and
is my array. Okay.
yes,
Okay. Then
1 2 3 4
Curly
5 6.
braces.
Suppose
Yeah.
okay. Let's say 10,
1,
20,
comma,
Comma.
20.
and
Yeah.
30. Right. So this is how we can create the array. Right. So anyone knows any different format of creating array? So we have seen two types of array we can create, right? So this is the first way. Second way, how to create the
With
array?
new array.
With the new keyword, right?
New keyword. Yes.
Right. So you have to say a. So int a, let's say p, right? And I will say is equal to
New.
new
New
New.
B
p, right?
and
So this is
length
the second way of creating array. Where what I missed here,
5. Any any fixed
size,
size of
right?
this array.
Size of
Size
array.
of the
So here you have to give the size of array. Okay. So here, what is the size of array?
3.
For the B, what
3.
error it's giving? Okay. So here I have to say what 3. Okay. And here, what is the size of array?
5.
5 is the size of array, right? So 5 is the size of array. So what is the error I'm getting here? So instead of this, I have to say int, right? This is the correct syntax, right? So int b is equal to new int, and then I have to specify the size. Okay. So here size is 3, and
3.
here size is 5, right? So this is how we can create the array, right? So what if I want to store the array on. So let's say I have created this particular array, and runtime I've got the, let's say, one number, and I can say like that number is a 40. Okay. Now I want to store that 40 here. Okay. So can I store like it like this? So let's say a of, let's say this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Right. A of 3 is equal to, let's say, 40. Is it allowed?
Yes.
This is allowed?
yes, yes, it is allowed.
Yes, sir. It's allowed.
Okay. What is the error I'm getting here?
Array index out of bound.
So why for the 3, why it's saying like our index out of bound? See guys, here array is created, and this particular array is having size of 3. So it is the array of size 3. You are not allowed to increase the size of this particular array. It is fixed in size. Okay. Now here as well. Okay. Suppose here we are storing the 5 element. So let's say I want to store one more element. So if I say like, a of, let's say 6, right? In that case as well, I am going to get the error, because see, we have already tell like, I want to create the array which can store the 5 values, right? If you are trying to store the 6th value, right? So you will get the error. So what is the conclusion here? Arrays are fixed in size. Arrays are fixed in size. So this is the limitation number 1 of the array. Arrays are fixed in size. Okay. So array can hold the homogeneous data element or data value. So now I have created the integer value array, right? Now if I stored, let's say here, for example, ABC, it's giving me error. Why it's giving the error?
Because it's a string and int, both are there.
Right. So this array is of integer array,
Holding.
and I'm
Yeah.
storing here what? ABC, which is type of string,
String.
right? So you are storing here integer, which is fine. Here you are storing the string, which is not correct, and integer you are storing here, which is correct. But here, see what it is saying, like, if you are creating the integer array, then you have to store only integer number. If you are creating the integer array, then you have to store the only integer number, right? If you are storing string, that is not correct, which is not allowed here, right? So your point number 2 is array can hold only homogeneous data element. Array can hold only homogeneous. So what is meant by homogeneous? Means similar type of element. So if it is integer, if I'm storing here, let's say 20, right? So this is homogeneous element. Now if I'm adding here, so let's say ABC here, right? So what it means? I'm storing here heterogeneous number or heterogeneous data element. Heterogeneous means which is not similar. Heterogeneous means which is not similar, right? Here I'm storing some heterogeneous values, right? So in an array, you cannot store the heterogeneous values. Okay, if you're saying integer array, then you have to store integer. If you're saying like float, then you have to store the float numbers, right? If you're saying like string array, then you have to store only string. You're not allowed to store the numbers there, right? So this is the second limitation of array. Okay, second limitation of array is what? Array can hold the homogeneous data type, homogeneous data types or values, data values, homogeneous data values. Okay, homogeneous is only allowed. Okay, third limitation of array. Array concept is not based on standard data structure. So ready-made method support is not allowed. Okay, now what it is? Ready-made method support is not allowed. Suppose for example, I want to delete this particular 30. I want to delete this particular 30. Right. So is there any way in array to delete this 30? You guys are thinking that means it's not there, right? So I mean, you can find the method there as well. Okay, because arrays there is one topic arrays, right? So uh, you guys can explore this particular topic. Okay, arrays java.util. In java.util arrays, there is one topic arrays, and here you can see for the searching sorting there are some methods available for the searching and sorting, right? But it's not, I'm not able to find suppose I want to delete something, right? So there is no ready-made method. Suppose I want to say these two arrays are equal, there is the method. Okay, but very limited method supports are there. See, very limited methods. So I can do the binary search. Okay, search related methods are there. I can do the binary search again here. Okay, so I can compare two arrays, right? So these kind of methods available here. Okay, so if I find for the sorting as well, there are n number of methods available here, right? For the sorting. Okay, but for example, if I want to delete something, right? If I want to add something in array, there is no method again, right? Suppose if I want to, find the specific something there, right? So very limited method support is available here. Why? Because see, array is not based on any standard data structure, right? In C or in C++, who are from the computer background, they know the data structure means what. Right. So data structure means basically, uh, um, uh, what we can say, you will get the, I mean, one base. Okay. So let's say I'm having data structure as binary tree, right? So I can make the, I mean, I can store the element in a such a way it will arrange in binary search tree. Okay. Or I can make, let's say linked list, right? So linked list is also one data structure available, right? So I can make, I mean, organize the element so that it will stored in, let's say single um, what we can say, uh, linked list, singly linked list or doubly linked list, or so let's say binary search tree is there. then your stack is there, right? So all these are the data structure available. Okay, if you explore like data structure, you'll get all these concept like uh, uh, s- linked list, single linked list, double linked list. Then we have binary search tree is there, binary tree is there, tree is there. So these are the different concept available in data structure. We don't have to go in that particular detail. Okay, very limited things is required, but here crux is that this particular array concept is not based on any standard data structure. Okay, so it's not based on any tree, it's not based on any doubly linked list, it's not based on any singly linked list, it's not based on any binary search tree, it's not based on any tree, right? It's not based on any stack, it's not based on any queue. So these are the different data structures available data structure is, right? So array is not based on that. Okay, so array is different entity and which is not based on this particular concept, right? So that's the reason. So you will get the very limited methods. Okay, so this is not organized array. We can say this is not organized that much. So that's the reason you will get the very limited method support here. Okay, ready-made method support. Suppose if I say like let's find the what is the duplicate in array. Okay, let's find out the whether this particular array is having this particular number, right? So you have to write your own logic. You will require to write your own logic. Okay, ready-made method support or ready-made methods for every scenario, every situation you will not get in array, right? So that is the third limitation of your array. Okay, now what is the solution for this? For the solution, they came with the new topic or new concept that we can say collection. Okay, so now this particular collection is first of all growable in nature. Now what is meant by growable in nature? Right, growable in nature means previously what happened in case of array, if I'm creating some array which is fixed in size. Fixed in size means suppose I'm creating one array and I'm saying like let's say I'm storing 3 element in array. So that particular array is fixed of size 3. If I'm creating some array of size 5, so that array is fixed of 5, right? You cannot modify this. So if you want to increase the size, you have to go here and you have to increase the size. Okay. But runtime, if let's say 6 element is coming, I'm not able to store it. Right. So it will give me error. What is the error? If I'm storing the on the 6th position, if I'm storing something, I'll get the error. What? Array index out of bound. All right. So that's the reason we are saying like array are fixed in size. Fixed in size. Okay. And opposite of this, collection is growable in nature. Now, how collection is growable in nature? So see, collection, basically what happen in collection? So every collection is having two things available. Okay, suppose for example, I am creating array list, right? So what exactly we create the array list? Let me open the paint. Right. Okay. So for example, if I'm creating the array list, right? Suppose I'm not giving the size while creating the array list as well, right? So what it will do? It will by default create the array list of size 10. Okay. It will create the array list of size 10. Okay. It will create the array list of size 10. Okay. So for example, let's say this is the first, second, third. Okay. Likewise, 10 element or 10 places or 10 sites, your array list will be created here. Okay, so this is how it will create the 10 size. I don't know. I mean, it is 10 or not. Okay, but 10 it will create like this. Right. So, for example, at the runtime, what you did, like let's say you are uh, you are taking some online event, right? And for that online event, so you expect that only 100 people are going to come that particular online event, right? So what you are making the software for that particular online event, and what you are expecting that only 100 people are going to come, right? So you decided like let's create the array and store the register entry of all these people in that array, right? But at runtime, what happens? Like, your camping or your, that particular event is got viral, and at the runtime, 1,000 people came. Now you have taken an array, right? So what is the issue with the array? Arrays are fixed in size, right? So you are expecting 100, so you created the 100 size of array, or maybe you have created 200 size of array. But runtime, how many student you get, or runtime, how many audience you get? 1,000 audience get, right? So in that case, your application will scratch. Sorry, it will scratch, right? What is the reason? What is the reason for crash?
Because the array is fixed in size and we haven't
Correct.
used the array list over there.
Array is fixed in size, so that's the reason your application will collapse, right? So solution for that, we have collection, right? Now collection, what it is happening? Okay, so for example, whenever I'm creating any collection, so initially, if I'm not giving any size for that collection, so by default, if it is array list, it will create this, let's say 10 size of array list, right? So let's say I fill here some values. Okay, I fill here some value, I fill here some value. And for every collection, there are some default fill ratio available. Default fill ratio means what? So let's say 60% of this collection is filled. 60% of collection is filled. That means this particular, it's having size of 10, and 60% of 10 means how much? 6, right? So these 6 fields are filled. Okay, if it is filled, what it will do? It will create more entries. What means? It will increase the size of this particular collection. It will increase the size of this particular collection. Okay, and how much it will increase? How much it will increase? So there is standard formula for each and every collection. So for array list, it's a 1.5. It's 1.5. See, it's a 1.5. Okay, for the array list, 1.5 means whatever the size you have, for that you have to multiply the 1.5. So initially size of our collection is what? 10, right? So 10 into 1.5, how much?
15.
15, right? So it will add
Yes.
what? 5 more cells, right? So it will have, okay, 5 more cells here, right? Okay. Now consider after that as well, this particular field, this particular field. Okay, and again 60% of element field here as well, right? So again, what it will do? It will create the collect. It will add few more cells here. Okay, again it will use the 1.5 of formula, right? So this is how it will increase every time. Okay, so if you are having 10 elements, or if you are expecting, let's say how many people you are expecting? Let's say 100 people you are expecting. Okay, if you have created any collection of 100, right? And runtime, if you got the, uh, let's say 1,000 people, right? So in that case, no issue. It will increase automatically. Okay, as soon as it will fill. Okay, it will keep on increasing, right? So you will not never face, array index out of bound or this kind of error here. Okay, so you can store anything, any place, okay, which is absolutely fine. Okay, it will increase automatically whenever it fills, I mean 60%, right? So this particular thing is also not fixed. I'm saying 60%, but you can set yourself as well. Let's say you are saying, like, if 20% is filled, I want to increase. Let's say 30% is filled, I want to increase. Let's say 90% filled, I want to increase. So this is depend on you. Okay, I will tell you how. Okay, so there are methods available, or there are way to, set this one as well, this one as well. Okay, so this is called as the default field ratio. Okay, and this is the increase. It will increase that particular, uh, how much you have to increase. Okay, how much you have to increase your in collection, right? So these two things you can do. But here, I mean, main point is here that this is not in fixed in size. Okay, whenever required, it will increase, and not only increase, whenever I mean, it's not required, it will decrease as well. Okay, so for example, you are expecting like, let's say 1,000 people are going to come because I have done the good campaigning of my event, and 1,000 people are going to join. Okay, but what happened? Runtime only, let's say, 50 people join. Runtime only 50 people join. So how much spaces you have waste? So let's say 950, right? That much of spaces you have waste, right? But this is in case of array. Okay, so this is happen in case of array. Okay, but in case of collection, so let's say only runtime 50 people are coming, and you have created the collection of, let's say 500, or let's say you have created the collection of, let's say 1,000, right? So if it is not that much of space required, it is decrease the size as well. Okay, for that you have to set the default fill ratio, right? So if you're setting the default fill ratio, it will decrease the size as well. Okay, so that's the reason it's very dynamic in nature, and it will save your spaces as well. Okay, it will as per the, I mean, demand, it will increase the capacity. If demand decreases, it will decrease the capacity as well. Okay, so this is the main point about the, this is the first point about the collection, that is the, it's growable in nature. Okay, so this is the very famous interview question. People will ask, what is the difference between array and collection? What is the difference between array and collection? So first difference is that arrays are fixed in size and collection is growable in nature. Collection is growable in nature, right? So next difference that we have, okay, what we said about the array, array can hold only homogeneous data element. Array, inside the array, you can hold only homogeneous data element. Okay, but what about the collection? Inside the collection, you can store or you can hold homogeneous as well as heterogeneous data element. Inside the collection, you can hold or you can store homogeneous as well as heterogeneous. Heterogeneous means what?
Different type of data types.
Different data
Right.
types.
Yeah, different type of data, right? Different type of data you can store inside the your collection. Okay, so this is the point number 2 or difference number 2. Okay, third difference is what? Every collection is based on standard data structure. Okay, every collection is based on standard data structure. So ready-made method support is available. Ready-made method support means for each and everything you will get a lot of method. You will just, I mean, for the each and every collection there are so many methods available, right? So in string we have seen like n number of methods, right? Multiple methods we have seen. Now here as well you are going to have multiple methods, right? And because of this method only, people feel like, collection is very tough. Okay, otherwise collection is very easy. Okay, people will irritate or people will, I mean, having fear on collection or of collection because of these methods only. Okay, but if you, I mean, for every collection, I mean, there are similar type of methods, so there is no much difference. Okay, but you have to understand first of all what collection is for what. Okay, so what collection is serving what purpose, right? So if you understand that, if you got that particular thing, then you can able to answer, I mean, 80 to 90% of question on collection at the time of interview. You can answer that. Okay, but so difference number 3 is that every collection is based on standard data structure. So ready-made method support is not available. Every collection is based on standard data structure. So ready-made method support is available here, and array is not based on standard data structure. So ready-made method support in array is not available. In collection, ready-made method support available because it is based on standard data structure. So that is the difference number 3. Okay, if you go, I mean, further, okay. So, I mean, at the time of interview will ask you what is the difference. So he's not going to ask sometimes what is the difference between array and collection. Instead of that, what he will do, he'll say, tell me the difference between array and array list. Okay, so now array list is one collection. Tell me the difference between, your hash map and array. Okay, or what he will do, he will say like, tell me the difference between, let's say, your array and linked list. Okay, so tell me the difference, or tell me the difference between array and vector. Okay, so these kind of question interview will ask. Okay, so don't get confused. Whatever chart you have seen, you have to tell only that difference. Okay, so difference, any difference with the collection. Okay, any collection and array. If you ask the difference, let's say someone asks you difference between array and array list, difference between array and collection. Sorry, difference between array and, let's say, linked list, difference between array and vector, difference between array and your hash map. Okay, so you have to tell the same difference. Okay, so same points are valid. So here you can replace any collection. Okay, so this thing is constant, and you have to replace any collection here instead of this collection. Okay, suppose someone is asking like this, you have to tell only this particular difference. Okay. Okay. Now first difference. Okay, so here most of the time you will
Hello.
get the theoretical questions. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, if anybody asks one liner, what is collection? So in one liner, we have to say that
I'll
collection
cover
is
that.
a
I will
group
cover
of.
that. There is the next
Okay,
slide for that.
okay, okay.
Okay. Okay, first of all, try to understand, okay, basic difference between, now we haven't started on collection, right? So collection is huge topic. Okay, so we just, trying to understand the collection. Okay, now, no, I mean, most of the you don't know, I mean, what is meant by linked list, what is meant by array list. I mean, Ajay is continuously taking the name of collection. In collection, he's saying like, array list, vector, then hash map, and all these things you don't know. Don't worry, I will tell you everything. Okay, but these are the different collections available. So I mean, this topic we are not going to, I mean, repeat after completing the collection. So that's the reason I'm telling now that if you just have to replace here any type of collection, and this particular thing is constant. So this kind of question interview will ask at the time of interview. Okay, so now first difference between array and any collection. So 3 points we have already covered here. Okay, so this is just extension of that particular 3 points only. Okay, so now first difference, arrays are fixed in size, whereas collection is what? Growable in nature. Okay, so as per our requirement, collection size is increased. As per our requirement, collection size is decreased. Okay, so this is possible in collection, any collection. Okay, it's not specific collection, every collection it's possible. Okay, so you can increase the size, you can decrease the size, you can increase the size as per your requirement, you can decrease the size as per your requirement. But in case of array, it's not possible. If you're creating array, it is fixed in size, right? Now, with respect to memory, arrays are recommended to use. Arrays are not recommended to use. Okay, with respect to memory, arrays are not recommended to use. Okay, but with respect to memory, collections are recommended to use. So anyone wants to answer this? Why this is?
Because it
Because
will
in
increase or
array,
decrease.
it won't increase or decrease whenever create the array. Means
Right,
how much we are creating, it will store that much only. Because if we
exactly.
no need also, we are wasting the memory of that.
Exactly. So take the same example, like say I'm having online event. Okay. And for that online event, I'm building one software. Okay. For that software, what I did, like, I take I have to use the, let's say, for example, array. Okay. So what I expect, like, there are, let's say, 200 or 100 people going to join my online event. So that I will take one array and I can give the space, let's say 200, right? But what happens, like, at the runtime, my campaigning get viral and I got, let's say, 1,000 or 2,000 people to join that particular. Okay, but now I'm using only array, right? And which is having capacity of, let's say, 200. So in that case, it definitely, I mean, it will allow either 200 or it's getting that much of request. In that case, application will get crash, right? Right. So again here there is but there is the reverse scenario as well. Okay, I was expecting 1,000 people, but I got only 10 people. I got only 10 people. So in that case, I mean, I got, I mean, waste of memory, right? So I did like wastage of memory, right? So I have created like, 1,000 spaces there, or 1,000 spaces I have created, and now I got the only 10 people, right? So again, it's wastage of memory, right? So with respect, whenever it's like, for you, memory is most important, right? So in that case, don't go with this particular array, go with your collection. Okay, any collection. Collection is generic term. Okay, whenever I'm saying collection, it means array list, linked list, vector, stack, queue. Then we have like hash table, hash map. Okay, then set, hash map. Okay, so these are the different collections. So you can choose any one. Okay, depending on your requirement, but that is the recommended to use. Okay, so here array list is not recommended if memory is important point for you, right? Second, if the performance is important for you, okay, so you're building some application, and there, I mean, memory is not, I mean, I'm having much memory, and I'm not worried about memory, but I'm worried about the performance. In that case, arrays are recommended to use. Okay, but your collection are not recommended to use. So what do you think, why this is? Okay, so with respect to performance, your arrays are recommended to use. With respect to performance, your arrays are recommended. That means arrays are high perform. Arrays are doing high performance. Okay, but collection are little bit slower. What do you think? Why this is? Okay, so let me explain. Okay, so what I told you, little bit clear it. Okay, so assume that this is the array, or this is the collection that I have created. Okay, so what I told you, okay, whenever it feel, let's say 60%, whenever it feels 60%, or I'm getting the entry. Okay, so first place I have stored something, second place I have stored something, third place I have stored something, fourth, fifth, and sixth. I have stored something, right? So now our default field ratio is done, right? So in that case, what it should do, it should add some more spaces. It should give the some more memory, right? It should grow automatically, right? So it will not grow here. It will not grow like this, right? So it will not grow like this. Okay, instead of this, what it will do, it will just create one separate collection here. Okay, so what it will do, basically, it will create one collection. Okay. It will do the collection like this. Which is quite bigger than this. Okay, I think size is only this much. Okay, so it will create little bit big collection, right? And what it will do, it will have some space here. Okay, so obviously this is having 10 spaces. So if your default field ratio is 60% and 60% is capacity fill, in that case, it will create one new collection. So let's say this is the array list they have created. Okay, so it will create the new collection here. Okay, so this is the new collection created here. Okay, so here as well, new collection. Okay, so this is the cell, right, of your collection, or this is the fields of your collection. Okay, so let's say like this, it will create. Okay, so like this, it will create it. Okay, so assume these are the cells. Okay, okay, here as well, like this. Okay, now what will happen? What will happen? So already we have already one collection is created. Okay. So whenever more space is required, what it will do, it will create the separate one collection. Okay. And what it will do basically, okay. So from first place element, it will shift here. Okay. Second, it will shift second place. Third, it will shift third place. Then third, it will shift third. Okay. Fourth, it will shift on fourth. Fifth, it will shift on fourth. Fifth. Sixth, it will shift on sixth. Okay, so every element will be shifted. Okay, and now this one is deleted. this one is got deleted. Right. So tomorrow what happen? Like this particular collection is also filled. Right. So what it will do? It will create little bigger collection. Okay. So like this, it will create. Okay. Okay. So this is big now, right? So this will create like this. Okay. And from this collection, again, he will shift. Okay. Number one, number two, number three. Okay. On respective position, it will shifted. Okay. So like here it will shift, here it will shift. Okay. And eventually this particular will got deleted. Okay. Now what is the problem here? Problem here is that number of shift operation. Okay. So it's wasting time. Okay. So whenever capacity is increased, it is just doing the new, and for the new one, it will just shift at the old element. Right. So let's say I'm having, let's say 1 crore element in my collection. Okay. And I need little bit more space now. Right. So I need 1 crore and 100 places more, right? So it will create the new collection and it will shift all the 1 crore element from old collection to new collection that I have created, right? So for the shifting, it will require time, right? Because 1 crore element it has to shift, right? So for shifting, it will require time, right? So that's the reason whenever number of shift operation is increased, in that case, it will give little bit poor performance. It will decrease its performance. Right. So with respect to performance, if your performance is important for you, in that case, collection is not for you. Okay. So in that case, go with the array. So let's say you're working on gaming application, right? So for the gaming, performance is very much important. All right. So such kind of application, go with the array. Right. If its performance is important, do it in array. Because if you are using this particular and number of shift operation is increased, anyways it will take time, and then it will eventually slow down your application, right? So that's the reason we have third
Hello.
point. Yeah.
Sir, same case in array, we have a 1 crore array size fixed
Hmm.
for any student, and if we want to add in between
So
in
what
that
I say,
array,
like,
then
array, it's not possible to increase and decrease, right? So if you are having 1 crore element, so let's create the 1 crore size of array and keep your 1 crore element.
and if we are deleting in between from them, then that element will be shifted again.
It's not shifted,
In,
right? In array, we're not shifting, right? Or it's we're not doing that, right? In case of array,
okay. It means
right?
in array list we can't add or delete any particular index or number.
Right. So you can make it 0. Okay. But see, whenever I'm creating array, by default, what happens, like if you are not giving any number, or I'm not adding any number, right? So it will be 0, right?
Yes.
It will be 0, right? So you cannot increase and decrease the size. Size will be remain same. For the array, size will be remain same. What we can do, you can make either number, you can store there either number, or you can store the 0.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Ajay, uh, array is a sequential, or we can provide directly, suppose that particular array number like 3, 4 as like directly, or it is
Array,
starting from 0.
it's starting from 0, right? Array, it's index based, right? So it's sequential. Correct.
Okay, yes. So we cannot provide the suppose there is number 3 is right,
Mhm.
and we are traversing or we are fetching that particular value, 3 number value. So can we provide that particular direct value 3, or it should be only sequential like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4?
No, no. I mean, see, uh, we have taken already this particular topic, but again, okay.
Yes.
So see, for the array, sequential means, I mean, you're just I mean confused with like you're thinking like for example, let's say I want to access let's say element number let's say 4 from the array.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me, this is clear for everyone, right? So shift operation, how it is work, right? So this is very I mean
Means that previously you have provided that
right.
3 number value, right? So we
See,
got
see,
the
see, see,
array
see, see,
out
see,
of
see,
bound.
see, see. Okay. So for example, let's say this is the array. Okay. So
Yes.
this is the first element, this is the second element, this is the third element, this is the fourth element, right? So these
Yes.
are the different element. Okay.
Yes.
So for array, what do you have? In case of array, what is the important part is there? For the every element, there is one index available, right? So this is the
Yes.
index,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So this is the index available here. Okay. So first element will have what index?
0.
First element will be this on zeroth index, right? Second element on which index?
1.
1. So this is how index will add, right?
Yes.
It will have index 4, 5th, and then 6th, right?
Yes.
Okay, so index is 0 to 6 here, right? 0, 1, 2 is missing here, right? So I have to give here 2. 0, 2, then
3,
3,
4,
4, 4, and then 5, right?
5.
So how
Yes.
many elements are there? 0 to 5. But what is
5.
the size of this particular array?
6.
6 is the size
Six.
of this particular array,
Yes.
right? So index is starting from 0 to 5 and size is 6, right? So because size is counting from 1, so it will count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's the reason size is 6, but index is starting from the 0 to 5 only. Okay.
Yes.
So on 6th index, we don't have anything here. Okay. So whenever you try to access from the 6th index anything, you'll get the error. You'll get the error. What is the error you will get? Array index.
Array index
Out
out
of
of
bound.
bound.
Array index out of bound.
You'll get the array index out of bound, right? Now see, now I'm having, let's say 10 value here. Here I'm
Yes.
having 20. 30, 40. Here I'm having 50. And here I'm having 60. Right. So for example, these are the values I have stored. Right. So now you have to tell me if I want to access, so let's say 40. If I want to access 40, how I'm going to access?
By
Its
giving its
index.
index number.
By giving its index number, right? So
Yes.
what I will say, A of,
A of 3.
3.
for example, this array is A. Okay, so I will say A of 3. A of 3, what we have? 40,
40.
right?
40.
So for example, A of 4, I have stored 50, right? Now I have to stored here. What I want to store? I want to store here. I want to store, let's say, instead of 50, I want to store 100, right? So how I'm going to store? So I'll say A of
A of 4
A of
equal to
4 is
100.
4. 100.
equal to
100.
100, right? So it will store the 100 on A of 4, right? So this is how we can access or we can modify the elements from the array. Right. So here
Yes.
you don't have to travel from the 0 index, 1 index. If you want to print entire values or entire index values from this particular array, in that case definitely you have to print first value, second value, third value, fourth value. But you can access it directly as well. Okay. But
Okay.
elements from the array is got stored sequentially. Sequentially means what? So first element, okay, so first value. Suppose I'm saying like stored it array of 0, right? So it will stored on 0th index. But here you don't have to, suppose for example, if I'm creating one array and that array is like I am creating like this. Okay, I'm creating like this. Okay, so by default, how many elements will be created here? 0 to 4, right? So 0 to 4 index will be there, right? Because size is 5. Right. Suppose I want to store value on 5th. I can easily store. Okay. So I can specify where exactly I want to store the value. Okay. I will say A of 4. All right. In that case, A of 4, I can store the value. Rest of the value will be what? In this case, if I'm not giving any value and I'm giving, let's say, direct 4th value. So default value for all the elements will be what?
0.
0 will be the default value for each and every element. Right. And because you are creating like this, right? So here it will be 0. By default value are there, which is 0. Right. Now, if you want to give the value, you can give it. If you don't want to give, it will be 0. Right. So if as per your requirement, you can give the value. It's not like, you have to access like, for first 0 index, then second index, that third index, that fourth index. Okay. Clear?
Yes, yes, Ajay.
Okay. Oh,
Sir,
now
this means that performance of array is improved due to its index number.
no. See, array is like, okay. So in case of array, what happens, like, it will create array once, right? And if you want to store the value, it will store it in once, right? So let's say you created the array of like say 2 crore and you want to store the 1 crore element, right? So in that case, like, you have created already 2 crore size of array and you are storing 1 crore, right? So let's say that 1.5 you have stored, all right? So the size is there, right? Shift operation is not required, right? So in case of collection, because of the shift operation, it will decrease the performance, right? In case of array, whatever the requirement you have, because you are not worried about memory here, you are more worried about the performance, right? So you will create some memory in advance there. You will reserve some memory in advance, right? So let's say you are required, let's say 1 crore, you know that 1 crore element is required only, right? So create the size of, let's say, 100 crore, because you are not worried about the size. You have a lot of space available, right? But you are worried about your performance, right? So in that case, your collection is sorry, array is recommended to use. Why? Because if you in array, if you created this one array, in that you can store the value. It is not going to, do the shift operation and all. So that's the reason your collection is recommended, not recommended here, but array is recommended. Okay, when you're talking about the performance. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So Ajay, any is that how we can increase this performance?
Performance what?
Means that how
Ex-
we can suppose there is collection is going slow, right? Means that collection
See,
performance is
collection is
slow.
slow
Then
means you'll not realize that collection is very slow. Okay, it's not like that collection is very slow and you cannot use collection anywhere. Okay, collection is fast, relatively fast. But
yes,
okay, but with respect to array, because we are telling the difference, right? So we have to
yes,
come with some points, right? So you will not notice that, collect anytime. Okay, you're storing, like, let's say, how many elements you are going to store. Let's say you are working on any application, max to max, how many elements you are going to store. So let's say 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, let's say 1 lakh, 2 lakh. Okay,
yes,
5 lakhs. Okay, even 5 lakhs you are storing there. You will not notice that performance of this particular collection is, but internally, I mean, uh, on the CPU utilization, on all that, they have come with these points, right? So whenever I'm using array, it's taking, let's say, CPU utilization is less, right? But whenever I'm using this particular collection, then CPU utilization is quite more, right? So that means because
yes.
of this shift operation, it's taking that CPU uses more, right? But you will not notice that, collection is that much of slow. Okay, because I mean, I mean, we'll see that particular topic as well. You will not notice that. Okay, don't worry.
Actually, asking only for my curiosity only.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So if
Ajay,
you,
can you give the? Okay, you
sorry,
can carry on. No, you can carry on. I will ask later.
Okay, okay.
Sir, one more thing, can we say that collection array list of array is stored on the contiguous memory?
Sorry,
Allocation and collection is not have contiguous memory allocation in array, but
contiguous
collection
means
does.
I don't know. I mean, what is mean by contiguous?
Contiguous means sequence of memory that index 0 to 10 of array, then it will be 0, 1, 2, 3. But collection is not having that
No, we cannot
kind.
say like that because in collection we have array list, right? So array list also following the index. It's array list is also
Yes.
sequentially, right? In collection we have like let's say has set there, right? So where we are not following indexing, right? So few of the collection is following indexing, few of the collection is not following indexing. So there is no, I mean, we can say like, we cannot say like, collection is following indexing and collection is not following indexing because few collection follow the index, few collection don't follow the index. Few collections stored, randomly, few collections stored sequentially. Right. So in case of collection, you cannot come with that particular point. Key collection is storing the value sequentially, collection is not storing the value sequentially. Because there are few collection which follow that. Okay. So
Yes.
I mean I'm saying like don't use that point. It's storing sequentially and but here
Yeah.
because see in array we have stored values on index basis. In collection there is one array list is there. Right. So where again we are storing the values on index basis or we can say the sequential basis. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ajay, can you give me the example for where we use the array and collection for performance on the base of performance?
So
I
I
mean, in
told
real
like
time.
for example you are working on gaming application, right? So where
Oh, yeah.
performance is very much important,
Performance
right?
is important. Yeah, yeah.
So
Got it.
in that
Thank you.
case, for the gaming application, you have to use the because see, whenever you let's say you are working on you are playing the game, let's say which game you like most. So let's say NFS is there, right? Or maybe Counter Strike is there, right? So that particular application is not performing well, all right? So it's getting stuck in between, or it's buffering, or it's taking much time to load, right? In that case, who is going to play your game? Right. So their performance is very important, right? So whatever you
Yeah,
want for the with respect to performance, you can do it there to increase the performance. All right. So
yeah.
in that case, you are not going to use. But let's say I'm working on some like something like for example so let's say I'm building some stock as well. Their performance is required, but something I'm working on, let's say where I'm going to create the. So let's say take the example of government site. Okay, government site. So where um, the data is going to get huge data, right? So let's say Aadhaar number I want to store for each and every people, right? So in that case what they are mattering, so they want memory is very important. Okay, because see there are let's say 10 crore or 100 crore or 130 crores peoples are there, right? So for there they want to store the data, right? So here
Mm-hmm.
memory is important, but the government side don't care about the performance, right? So
Performance,
performance
yeah.
is they don't, I mean I mean they are not worried about. Okay, they
So
say
they will
like
go with the array collection.
definitely because they
Yeah,
they they have to store. I mean,
the
it's not like that.
memory.
Suppose you go tomorrow and let's say you're filling the form and you got there like you cannot enroll because
Mm-hmm.
the let's say array index out of or let's say memory space is not there, and because of that you cannot enroll this particular site, right? Otherwise, I mean, everybody will shout on that, right?
Yeah,
That government size is like that. But performance, usually government side performance is poor, right? So that is
mm-hmm.
expected.
Sir, but it will be considered by the with the help of the load testing whether that we are using the array or the collection.
Sorry.
Means the if we want to use array or the collection, we have to perform the or the estimate the that the load testing or the how many people will going to use that. just like the
Right.
as we
So
know
load
the
testing is
example.
different part. Okay. So in
But
load testing, so see here exactly we are not. I mean, talking about the, so usually whenever do the load testing or performance testing, what basically you do, you will hit some APIs. Okay,
mm,
and you will measure the performance. Let's say how much the request time or how much the let's say I'm sending one request to server, and within how much time I'm getting the response, right? So basically in performance testing you measure that, okay, what is my request time and what is my response time, right? So
yeah.
this kind of performance you measure in performance testing. Okay,
But
but
there is
here,
also one concept like the how many peoples are using. The
right,
number of
so
people we are going to take like the big billion sale. There are a lot of people are using the Flipkart application.
correct,
So
correct,
where the
correct. In that case, like I mean, see, usually, I mean, every website they know, I mean, how much threshold they are going to get. Right. So let's consider the example of, for example, um, I have created some site, and I know that these many people are going to use my particular site, or I'm having one application. These are using bank internal customer, right? So it's not going to happen like suddenly banks branches are increased so drastically, and so many people are going to log in that particular. Only bank people will going to log in that particular application, right? Who are daily basis. So let's say blank clerk is there, bank manager is there, so they are going to log in that particular application. So usually, though they know about the performance of their site, right? So they know that how much load they are going to get. Okay, but these are the few scenario where like you are having Flipkart site, or you are having let's say Amazon site, right? So they have that particular big billion day, and so many people are going to join that particular site. All right. So they usually prepare that, but it's not like that. Like they are increasing their performance like this. Okay, so they basically what they will uh, basically how they increase the performance, they use the Amazon AWS or this kind of services they use, and they usually deploy their services there. Okay, so for example, let's say I know that okay, on big billion day Indian people are going to join that particular, or Indian people going to log in more, right? So what they will do, they will whatever the services available, they will deploy their services nearest region to the India. Okay, so for the India, let's say Sri Lanka is there near, right? So for example, China is there. For example, India, they will have one server. And so this kind of, I mean, they know that they from there, I'm going to get more traffic. So nearest region, what they will do, they will deploy the more services, right? So that every time whenever load is increased, they will do the load balancing, and they will shift the from one region to another region. Okay, so how they this is how they increase the performance. Okay, but here we are comparing the I mean performance between two entity. Okay, if I mean on micro level, if we want to compare the performance between these two entity, right? So in that case, you can consider these two parameters, right? So for one, it's required the shift operation, and for one, we are not required the shift operation. So this is little bit micro level. Okay, and the performance you are talking, that is I mean little bit, I mean global level, right? So we have to use these techniques there. Okay, AWS and their services, or Google Cloud is there, or their services is there, right? So they will help you to increase that particular thing. Okay, but yeah, I mean this point as well, I mean matter a little bit there, like what things you are using, I mean on micro level.
okay, sir.
Okay, now next thing that we have, we everyone is clear, right? So why the performance of your array is good than performance of your collection, right? Because in collection, if size is slowly increasing, then number of shift operation also increase, and then number of shift operation is increasing, then performance will be your sometimes it will take time. Okay, it will decrease little bit. Okay, But usually if you're dealing with, let's say, 1 lakh element, 2 lakhs element, you will not notice that. Okay, but eventually you are storing like, 100 crores, 200 crores data of peoples, or they are having, in that case, you'll little bit notice, but again, I will say, I mean, it will not noticeable for you guys. Okay. Then next topic is, or next point is that array can hold only homogeneous data element. Okay, array can hold homogeneous data element. That means what? Only similar type of data you can store in array. Okay, but in case of collection store homogeneous as well heterogeneous. Okay, suppose I want to store 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can store it, or I want to store 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say script QA, let's say yeah, someone different, like I want to store, let's say Digambar, I want to store some different people name, right? So I can store there, right? So this is how the collection is. Collection, you can store float number, you can store whatever you want. Okay, different type of data you can store it. That is absolutely
Like
fine.
person detail, age,
Right.
and name
Correct.
for
Correct. You can
collection.
store any type of data. That is fine. Okay. There is no restrictions, right? You can store the string, you can store the float numbers, you can store the integer number, you can store the character, you can store the let's say any class object, or object of any class. Okay, that is absolutely fine there. Right. Now, uh, next point about the collection is that no underlining data structure. So no ready-made. We have already seen this particular topic, right? So no underlining data structure. So no ready-made method support available here in case of array. Okay, so in case of collection, every collection concept is based on standard data structure. So you'll get the lot of methods available here. Okay, for each and every action, there is one method. Okay, you don't have to write code, I can say here. Okay, you'll get the method for each and everything. You will get the method for each and everything. For example, if I want to access something, there is one method. If I want to delete something, there is method. If I want to, modify something, there is method. If I want to, let's say, do the search operation, if I want to sort, for the each and everything, there are separate methods available. Okay. So in array, we have to write the logic. Here, you don't have to write the logic. Okay. For each and everything, you will get the method. Okay. Now, this is about the, I mean, this is the next point. Okay. So next point is array can hold the primitive and object type data. Okay. Array can hold the primitive and object type of data. But in case of collection, only hold the object, but not primitive. So basically, you cannot store the primitive here. In case of collection, you cannot store the primitive. Okay. So primitive is not allowed to store inside the collection. Okay. But object you can store. Right. So let's say int I is equal to, so let's say 5. Okay, that is your primitive that you cannot store. But integer I is equal to 5. Integer is the class, right? So that is not a primitive, right? So integer I you can store. Okay, but int I you cannot store. Okay, you will get there. So every time you have to use the integer here, not int. Whenever you are dealing with the collection, you have to use the integer. That is the class available, right? Wrapper class available. So with the help of wrapper class, you have to store it, right? So that is the last difference. That is the it is hold the primitive and object type. Okay, it is not holding your primitive, but object you can store it here. Only object is allowed. Okay. Clear? This is for everyone. Any doubt here?
Yes, Ajay.
Okay, so let's repeat it once again. Okay, arrays can store, or arrays are fixed in size. Collection is growable in nature. Okay, arrays are fixed in size. Collection are growable in nature. Okay, whenever as per your requirement, you can increase and you can decrease the size. Okay, that is absolutely fine in case of collection. Okay, with respect to memory, arrays are not recommended to use, because sometimes you will have some less memory, or sometime you will have some extra memory. which is wastage of memory, right? So that's the reason. If your memory is your main concern, then don't use the that array list, right? Because if you don't know, I mean, how many places I have to reserve or how many memory I have to reserve, if it is not clear for you, and you are creating some random, so that might be chances you will get, you will use unnecessary, you will waste some memory, right? So in that case, go with, if you are not clear about how much memory is required, so don't go with, I mean, array list, go with the collection, where it will eventually dynamically increase the capacity. Okay, so we can say that it's growable in nature, so it will grow as per your capacity is increased, right? So with respect to performance, arrays are recommended to use. Okay, but collection is not recommended because number of shift operation is more in collection if your data is more. Okay, and because of that shift operation, it will take a time. Okay, because of shift operation, because each time what it is going to do. Okay, so your collection is increased, you will create the new array, a new collection, and it will add the value or shift the value. Okay, suppose size is increased more, it will create the new collection, and then it will shift the previous value. Okay, if you require the more size, it will create again new collection, and in that collection it is going to shift old values. So shift operation is more here, so sometimes it will decrease the performance as well. Okay, um, now arrays can hold the homogeneous data element, and collection can hold homogeneous as well heterogeneous, means similar type of value you can store or different type of value as well you can store. Okay, underlining data structure is here. What is the underlining data structure? Sorry, underlining data structure is not available here. So no ready-made method support available. So there are some methods available, ready-made method, but less. Okay, as compared to collection, very less ready-made method supports available here. Okay, in case of array. But in case of collection, you will get the ready-made method for each and every operation. Right. Array can hold a primitive and object type. Okay, collection can hold what? Only primitive.
Object.
Sorry, only
Object.
object, not primitive. Only object, not primitive. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me what is the example of storing object in array? How we can store the object in array?
So object class.
Okay, object class is one example, right? So other, if I want to store the integer object, so how I'm going to create? Can I create like this? Okay. Suppose, for example, I want to store the integer value, right? Can I create like, integer? So let's say I is equal to, it is possible, which is absolutely possible, right? So basically what I'm doing here, I have created the object array, or let's say if I don't want to, I mean, see, instead of that, I can say like, I is equal to integer I is equal to integer I or integer A is equal to, let's say, 10, B is equal to 30, C is equal to 40, and I can add it into this particular array. So basically what I'm storing here, I'm storing here object. Okay, so this is the object. Or maybe if you're having class A, if you're creating the array of class A, so different object of class A, you can store it there, right? So basically what we can say, we can hold here primitive as well as object. Both are possible, right? But in case of collection, you can hold only uh, object, not primitive. Primitive is not allowed here. Okay, in case of collection. Okay, we'll see. I mean, what is allowed, what is not allowed in collection in upcoming sessions. Okay, so collection is also a big topic. It will require some time to complete. Okay, so this is the first session. Don't expect much that we have. I mean, learn everything. Okay, so slowly we'll learn this particular collection, and basically this is the, I mean, last topic. After that we have some miscellaneous topics are there. Okay, so we'll try to cover those miscellaneous topic, but after that Java is finished. Okay, so after that we'll start with the Selenium. Okay.
Sir, in line number 10, you write integer I of array.
Mhm.
So it will create an array of I which having these values, these objects. Can
Line number 5. Where is line number
Like
5?
line number 10.
Line number 10, yes. It's the integer array, right? So it's integer object array. Correct. So this is the integer, that is the wrapper class, right? And in that you are storing this value. So these are also integer values. It's not like primitive. This is not primitive. These are the integer values. Okay. So for example, if I'm saying like, in this is something like integer, let's say a is equal to, let's say 10. B is equal to, let's say 20. C is equal to, let's say 30. Okay. And I'm saying like, here I'm storing the A. Here I'm storing the B. Here I'm storing the C. Okay. So which type of value I'm storing here? I'm storing the integer. Okay. So integer is what? Integer is one class. Okay. Or a wrapper class available. So this array is of object type array. Object type array. Clear?
Yes, sir. Fine.
Okay, so I think that's it for today's session. Okay, if anyone is having any doubt, so we can discuss that. Okay, or maybe we can close. If not, then so let me stop the recording.